listening to Opie and Anthony. On the virus, Sirius-XM.
You know, we're going to lose Jesse soon, and I want to know about secret societies and everything else that this show's about.
Let's talk the show. All right.
Conspiracy Theory premieres tonight at 10 on True TV.
Yeah, secret societies deal with, like, the Bilderbergs, you know, that meeting that happens every year.
Yeah, and what the hell's that about?
That's the power brokers of the world all meet. You know what's interesting about it? They have such power. Our president goes to it, and our president has to sign a no-talk thing.
Really?
Yeah, they have the power to tell our president, you have to sign a thing saying you won't talk about what went on here.
Isn't Rumsfeld a member of that? I've heard of that.
Bunches. Also, I felt a little offended. I won governor and never got invited. How come I didn't get to go there and sit in on this shit?
Because they know you'd opened your yap about everything you saw.
Probably.
You can't keep your mouth shut.
I wouldn't have signed the no talk thing. You know,
has anybody ever taped it? Or has anybody ever taped it or talked about it?
No, there's more security there than you'll ever see at the Super Bowl
obviously
or that you'll ever see anywhere.
The White House.
Yeah, obviously more than the White House.
Are you scared by this secret society?
It's eye-opening. I will tell you this.
Well, what do you know about it? Did you explore this?
Watch the show.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to give everything away.
Well,
you know, I watch the show. But I will tell you this. In doing these 7 episodes on conspiracies, you can choose whether you can say they're all bunk. Because in the end, we cover the conspiracy and we leave it up to you. Did we provide enough evidence to where you can look at this and say, you know, there's a little bit of merit here. You know, there's something beyond what we've been told. So, but I will tell you this. In doing these 7 conspiracies, and I say this very seriously, I got scared doing them. And I don't scare easy. But these things, doing this show frightened me.
Which one scared you the most?
2012.
Ah, come on.
Oh, really?
We had Dr. Michio Kaku say that's all bullshit.
Well, it might all be, but
what scared you about the 2012
Well,
thing?
because there's certain things that NASA backs up that's going to happen, and here's what scares me, is the fact that every 160 years or so, the sun kind of goes crazy up there, and it's due to happen. And, well, here's back up again, the Mayan calendar. What it said was simply this: December 21st of 2012, the world as we know it will end and a new world will begin. Mm-hmm. That's the actual what the Mayans said. Now, you can throw that out saying, oh, they're just a bunch of old Mayans. What do they know?
They had no shoes.
But these people, believe it or not, when it came to the atmosphere and that, nothing, even with all our technology today, we can't disprove the things that they learned back then. They were very bright when it came to up there. Now, here's the story on 2012. And you can go to NASA and they'll back this up. Our planet is protected by a magnetic force field. Well, apparently there's a large hole in it. And NASA will back you up because the Voyager and all that, they've proven there's a big hole in our magnetic force field. Well, every 160 years or so, and this is also documented, the sun kind of goes crazy and it shoots off these solar flares that they call it, right? Well, because of the hole in our force field, it happened 160 years ago, and it didn't really have a major effect because we weren't dependent upon electricity like we are today. Mm-hmm. Back then, it might have just knocked out a couple of telegraph offices, and that would have been the extent of it, because 160 years ago, we didn't have the massive grid system. We weren't as dependent upon electricity. The guys I've talked to said, here's the good part, we can prevent it. But no one's paying attention right now. It'll cost about 200 to 400 million to put these resistors in our entire grid system. But what this guy told me is that when this happens, and he won't say it's December 21st, 2012, he says, or thereabouts. When this happens from the sun, it could very well knock out the entire grid system of North America to where we could be without electricity for up to 2 to 4 years.
This sounds like Y2K.
Now, Y2K was created by us. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with us. This is up there. And it's documented. This is out of our control. I said that too. I said it, but I even bring it up. I said, well, wait a minute. We had Y2K. I had to sit in a thing all night long thinking that, you know, the world was going to go down, blah, blah, blah. And nothing happened. But like he said, yeah, but that was us. That was just us and our computers. He said, this comes from the sun, and it's documented. You can go to NASA. They will verify it and all this. And if that indeed happens, like I said to him, I said, well, I live in Mexico half the year, and I live off the grid, and I have solar power. What'll happen to me? And the guy said, well, you'll probably have about 100,000 people wanting to live with you. Oh. Now, imagine, you're all New Yorkers out here, right? Look what happened when they lost power here for a mere 24 hours. What would happen if the whole North American grid system blew out and it took us 2 years to get it up and running again?
Oh, well.
Wow.
But
I mean, you'd have chaos.
Call the herd.
Yes.
Call the herd.
Well, you'd have chaos. And, so that one scared me the
How
most.
would we see
in the
our
fact
movies?
Right. But that one got to me the most, the fact that that's really out of our control.
Yeah.
If this happens and we're not preparing for it in some manner, but this guy says it'll cost between $200 to $400 million to put these resistors into the grid system.
That's not a lot of money,
right? But he said the problem is nobody's paying attention to it
because it's bullshit.
Because it's bullshit.
If they thought it was, yeah.
It's not, because it's all documented. There was the big one 160 years ago, and then in 1921, apparently there was a milder one that knocked out the grid of a couple cities.
I hope so. I'm waiting for anarchy, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's got his guns. He's ready.
I want things mixed.
I
want to mix things up a little bit.
So the show, we cover that.
You guys cover
I'll
UFOs
tell you,
at all?
the what?
UFOs, do you guys go into that at all?
Which?
UFOs, Area 51, any of that stuff?
No. Nothing with that, because there's no, what am I going to add to Area 51? There's nothing new. We kept it within the decade. Area 51's way back in the 40s, or whatever it happened.
How about a Bigfoot update?
No, here's the eeriest one I did.
Yeah.
Manchurian candidates.
What's that about?
Whether the government can create an assassin under hypnosis and all this. Ooh, wait till you watch this show.
Yeah, you think...
No, I talked to a guy who claims to be one.
Oh, I thought you killed somebody.
Yeah.
And he's got maybe a code word or something happens and then
that's
they just...
Well, he doesn't really know, and he always... when I got done interviewing him, it was interesting after he left.
Pick your words wisely when you talk to him.
He said that the only reason he talked was because it was me.
Really?
Yeah.
He
told me that.
Was he on camera?
He trusted me. He trusted. He said,
filmed it.
But
I thought maybe he was a fan of the squared circle.
When he left,
you can't be trusted though. You talk too much.
When he left,
who's trusting you with any info?
I turned to my crew and I said, "Boy, I'll tell you something. You can choose not to believe this guy, but he believes it."
Did you film his face? Did he let you film his face?
Sure.
So
absolutely. Here's the deal. I'll give you a little scenario on how. Okay. When a person apparently is put under heavy hypnosis or that type of thing, if they have a traumatic accident or something, it can jar their old memory back somewhat. That's what happened to him. He was involved in a bad car accident, right? So he started getting his memory back on other stuff. Well, wait till you hear this. As part of his rehabilitation after the car wreck, he had to get an MRI. They put him in the MRI and the machine went ballistic. You know why?
Chip in his head.
5 of them.
5 chips.
5 chips in his body were discovered.
So
now, isn't that pretty?
Did someone just snatch him up, or was he part of?
He claims he was taken at age 6, and that his father used to head the CIA down in St. Martin and all that, and so he was. And plus, it's his background. He's part Native American, and apparently, there's something that they study about who's more susceptible and who's not. Like in a Manchurian candidate, your best bet would be to get an ex-military guy. And the reason being is that a military guy has already gotten to the point where he can say murder's okay. I can kill someone, because you have to make that logical decision. When you join the military, you realize that there may be a time you might have to kill somebody. So you're not comfortable with it, but you accept it. That's what, under hypnosis, they can't force you, like put you under hypnosis and say, go jump off the roof. Well, you'll come out of it before you'll do that.
You say, go screw yourself.
If they did it to you for over a year, then it's a possibility that you would do something.
Did you backtrace his military history or his father? Did you guys investigate that?
Oh, yeah.
So he's legit?
Oh, yeah.
I want to see that one, man.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good stuff. I'll tell you what, like I said, you can choose to not believe any of these, but I guarantee you, you're going to find this show, because there's the frightening part thing. What if it is?
Yeah, we're all watching.
That's the big point. Now, what if it is?
All right, quickly, I see one of the episodes here, global warming. Now, this has been a big subject of late, especially because of these emails that came out and are kind of
I believed it, but I'm not so sure now.
Now you're not so sure?
Yeah, and here's why. Cap and trade. The solution they have for global warming doesn't solve it. It simply makes money.
It makes a lot of money.
A lot of money. And it doesn't solve the pollution, because you can buy your way out of polluting. You can pollute the same as you always do. You can simply pay it off. Well, how does that solve global warming? And that's what caused my red flag to go up. Wait a minute. They're going to pass this legislation that really does nothing to solve the problem. All it does is collect money.
Do you see Al Gore as being a big believer in it, or a businessman that saw an opportunity?
Both.
Yeah?
Both.
Really?
Both. Yep. And the real guy is this character will reveal to you, a guy called Maurice Strong. He's the guy behind all of it. He's a big guy at the UN, and they're also using global warming to help promote one world government. Mm-hmm. Because this will be the first tax that will be a tax of the world.
A world tax.
Not a tax from a nation. And that causes me great despair. Although I will say this, maybe it's evolution. Maybe a one-world government. Maybe we can't do nothing about it. Maybe it's because I believe in evolution.
Dr. Mijikaka always talks about like a planetary government, not being some controlling force, but as instead of working against each other, eventually we just work as a planet, and then we harness the weather, and then we harness energy around us.
But of course, you run the fear. Okay, who would abuse this?
All right, yeah.
You know, you always run the fear. In a perfect world, it might be great. Because I've told people the best government. You know what the actual best government is? Benevolent dictator. But your key is you got to be benevolent, you know, because then you can get things done. If you're the dictator, hey, we need a bridge here, build the bridge, da-da-da. But again, it would be abused. Although, like all dictators, power corrupts.
Wouldn't aggression, though, like as we evolve, doesn't aggression become less and less and less? Like, say, 1,000 years from now.
I don't think so. I think aggression's becoming more and more today. We seem to be more aggressive today than we've ever been.
I don't think as a species we are. If you look at, maybe you look at the military action in the U.S., but look as a species, I think we're a lot different than we were 5,000 years ago.
No, I don't agree. I disagree. You know why? We got protests out there going on whether people can go to the doctor. You got people protesting. Should you be able to go to the doctor or not?
But they're not just burning places down.
But we're not protesting. But we're not protesting war, are we? We're protesting whether you can go to the doctor or not.
Well, it's all immediate self-interest. We see the effect of not going to the doctor as being an immediate effect. We don't see the maybe over.
Well, to me, we should be protesting these wars, not protesting whether someone can go to the doctor.
Are you saying that we haven't evolved like that because you threatened to beat me up and you feel guilty?
I have never threatened to beat you.
You didn't threaten me, but
you kind of did.
You kind of
did.
Step outside.
I was having fun and doing humor.
He just said step outside.
How the hell do we know when you're having fun?
Have a heater.
I'm not mad.
Yeah, I know. You have a heater. Can't have a heater inside. You got to have them outside.
More money.
Hey, I got to tell you something though. I used to because of freedom.
Yeah.
I used to really oppose the smoking in the bar thing because I thought shouldn't that be left up to the bar? Mm-hmm. You know, because it's an act of freedom.
I completely still agree with that.
But
and I'm not a smoker.
You know
Leave
what
it up
though?
To the fucking bar owner.
I don't now, and I'll tell you because this summer for some reason I had to do 3 things at the bar. God, was it nice? I didn't have to come home.
We admit that it's nice.
I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to come home and immediately throw my clothes into the hamper because they stink. I didn't have to run in and take a shower because my hair smelled and my body smelled.
We're with you.
And it was actually very enjoyable.
You just explained something.
And I just sat and thought, cow, you know, they really shouldn't be able to do it, but it sure is nice that they have.
You just explained why people aren't protesting the war, but they are protesting the doctor. It's not about not caring. It's about immediate self-interest. It's the doctor we see affecting us immediately, whereas the war is like, it's easier to not feel like you're being affected by that.
But I got to admit, going to the bar without the smoke, God, was it nice.
That's a good point.
You know, your eyes didn't burn all night. You didn't come out coughing. And like I said, you didn't stink, you know.
As governor, where did you stand as far as the Second Amendment goes?
Well, I'll give it to you. My definition of gun control is standing at 25 meters and putting 2 rounds in the same hole. That's gun control.
Very good. I like that.
Is that a good answer?
Absolutely.
That's called gun control.
Yes.
Stand back 25 meters, put 2 rounds in the same hole. You got great control of that gun.
I don't like some of the people that are saying that you got to have more laws against law-abiding citizens. Meanwhile, again, the bad guys.
Well, that's an attempt to disarm us and take control of us.
I will not disagree with that.
Which goes on. It's the same as these other things where they're taking our freedoms. They've suspended habeas corpus. I wish you were that passionate about that. The fact that they can now arrest you. They can now arrest you and simply say you did a terrorist thing and you can't have a lawyer. They can hold you indefinitely.
Are there examples of them doing that to citizens who aren't involved in terrorism at all?
I don't know. How would we know? If they're holding someone, if we're holding someone without charging them, how would we know?
Well, they have families.
Don't they have to charge you first so you know what you got charged for?
They have jobs and people they know who would go, "Hey, Fred hasn't showed up for work in 3 weeks." Oh yeah, cops grabbed them.
He's in prison for being in.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It's harder. They couldn't even hide Abu Ghraib. It's very hard to hide information these days with cell phones and technology, and it's harder to hide shit because the immediacy of information is available.
I just wish I'd like to waterboard Dick Cheney.
Oh my goodness, he wouldn't last very long.
Yeah, I know, but I think he needs to have it done to him so that he'll clearly understand with his 5 deferments from Vietnam. He'll then understand what's torture and what's not. You know, because Dick seems to call it enhanced interrogation. I call him Cheney the coward.
Now, what about interrogations in Vietnam? Now, there was intense interrogation that went on there that supposedly led to maybe people knowing where enemy concentrations were going to be.
Let me explain why torture doesn't work. Because if you're being tortured, you're going to say whatever needs to be said to stop the torture.
Let me check with the listeners.
You can.
Yes, they are. They're saying everything.
Yeah. No, seriously. If you're being tortured, you will say whatever it's required to say to stop the torture. That's why it's not allowed in court. If you torture someone, the confession is not allowed in court because it was under torture.
What if it's for information, or say it like it's for a name?
How is the information? How can you deem it good?
Let me say,
he's going to say what you want to hear.
No. Let's just say like you got a guy like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and again, I'm talking about people who we believe to be very high-ranking members. I'm not talking about average foot soldiers or regular guys. A guy on that level who has, let's say, knowledge and who has said that he was mastermind 9/11. Let's say you say, where are the cells?
After being
okay, fair enough.
After being waterboarded,
let's say
you would have too.
You say, I'm sure I would have. Let's say you say to that person, name 3 other people who were involved. Where are they? And then he gives you names that you didn't have. And then you go and you find out those people have bomb-making equipment, and they are actually what he said. Now, you've tortured the information out of him. But
can you name me an example of that?
I don't know.
Where it worked?
Well, again,
I would like to see an example of it to where it worked.
All of the things that they've stopped, I don't know how many of them came from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
Most of them they've gotten from not torture. They've gotten from being nice and
bounties work and Viagra work too. In Afghanistan, they give Viagra to a lot of guys. They got information, believe it or not. They did. Really? Viagra actually worked a lot because these are older guys and these warlords. They can't fuck anymore, and they give them Viagra, and they're fucking their wives.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah, the military's not stupid. But I think if I'm saying in an example like that, if it does work like that,
because the rule of law of our country says we don't torture. And again, if you're going to have the rule of law and live by it, you have to live by it when it's inconvenient.
Well, isn't
who decides?
A very gray area?
No,
as far
it should
as
not be.
What it means.
Well, the game has changed a little bit in that it's citizens attacking citizens. We've never faced that before.
Well, then why didn't we waterboard? Okay, I'll give you a great example. Oklahoma City bombing. Why didn't we waterboard McVeigh? There's a lot of people think more were involved than them too. Why didn't we give McVeigh a good waterboarding to get information from him?
Well, they did execute him, so I think
but to gain information, execution won't get you information.
But I mean, maybe they felt that there was nothing else to get from him, and they got what they needed.
But why wouldn't they just to make sure? There's plenty of people think more that were involved than just those two guys.
There's a difference between how we handle enemy combatants and how we handle our own citizens.
It doesn't matter a citizen.
No. I mean how we handle American citizens.
No, but so it's okay to waterboard European citizens.
No.
I'm all for that.
If they're enemy combatants, as they were calling them, enemy combatants. Whatever you want to call them.
I'll put it to you this way.
They then are not due the due process that we are here. So
shouldn't we be above our enemy? Shouldn't we stand for something?
Not all the time.
Really?
Yes, because
so we should get down in the mud and the pigs will love it.
You know what? If we understand where we're going, that we are going in the mud, and sometimes you have to fight.
So two wrongs make a right.
No, but that's not true.
No, I'm not talking about us going in and beheading people and stuff, but treating these vicious people.
Well, why don't we treat? Well, Charles Manson got Miranda. Charles Manson had his day in court. Who's worse than him?
Again,
Charles Manson was not a citizen who was targeting other citizens like under the guise of we had him. We had the guy. Nothing else was happening. It wasn't like Manson was the head of a network.
Yes, he was. He was the head of his family, and they were out butchering people in California.
But they were all with him. I'm saying they were all with him. They didn't go out and do other butcherings when he wasn't when he got locked up. It was done. They had the guy, and they got Squeaky Fromm, and they got fucking Tex Watson, and they got all of them. They cleaned house with Manson. They knew who did it.
No, they didn't.
They got them.
No, they didn't.
Who didn't go to jail?
There's a bunch of Manson family people that never went to jail. Read Vince's book, Helter Skelter.
People that were involved with the murders?
Well, people that they didn't have enough evidence to involve them.
They didn't have enough evidence.
But the point is, he still had rights in this country. As awful as he was, he still had rights. And when we get to the slippery slope, who decides?
He wasn't an enemy of the state.
He wasn't an enemy of the country.
Of the country. He wasn't an enemy combatant that was.
How is that any different?
It's different.
It's called killing people.
Yeah, there's a difference between
war. You're not going to convict a soldier.
They're not soldiers.
I'm saying you're not going to convict a soldier, a United States soldier, for going into war and under the rules of combat, killing another human being. You're not going to take him and go, well, I'm going to convict you or try you for murder. It's the same thing. They are afforded certain liberties.
Well, okay. Lieutenant Calley was convicted because he killed a bunch of civilians.
He went a little fucking
wait. Now, weren't these civilians killed in the towers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still had to try him in court. He committed a crime. He was read his rights, and he was tried in court.
The difference is he didn't work for 2 years to create a network to make that happen. I'm not saying it's right.
How is that any different?
I'll tell you how. Jesus. Because it's a military operation.
They're not a military.
But they're operating as a military operation on U.S. soil, and they hijack commercial airliners.
So do the Hells Angels.
Do you not see the difference between the Hells Angels and somebody hijacking a commercial airliner and flying it into a building?
No, but they're an organization that's involved in bad activities, and they kill people.
When have they done anything that has killed 3,000 people or 2,800, whatever it was? When have they ever done anything that was as much a threat to national security as that was?
Well, our bottom line, we get back to it again. Nothing's been proven.
But let's just...
and you and I will...
What have you proven about the Hells Angels? I mean, come on, you make the Hells Angels. They're a motorcycle gang. They've done some bad stuff. But to actually mention them in a discussion about what they're trying to do...
What I'm saying to you, I'm making the comparison. Here you have an organization that's involved in crime.
Yes, mafia, Irish mafia, all of them. Sure, absolutely.
And so should we treat them the same way? Because sometimes people die around them for no reason. They kill people. But you're going to tell me that they've never killed anybody?
But they're not hijacking commercial airliners and flying them into buildings.
But they might if it served their purpose, wouldn't they?
I don't know.
They might do it then. I don't know.
Maybe they would.
Maybe they would.
But what does that prove?
If they did,
well, what it proves is you have to treat everyone the same under the law. You can't simply say, okay, the law applies to you, but it doesn't apply to you, because who plays that God figure that makes that decision? Who do you allow to be able to make that decision? You're not wrong,
but the decision of the way the legal system is, you know how it is. The way the legal. So you think that we should just allow these guys? Like we saw what happened with the Zacharias Moussaoui trial. It's a fucking circus. And so we're going to allow these guys just to languish.
So you're saying that they don't deserve a trial?
Not saying
that. Our government just says you're guilty.
No.
And we're going to execute you or do what we do.
I'm not saying
trial.
that. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying that.
Well, I'm asking.
No, I'm not saying
that.
Well,
then when do you have a trial? When do you allow our rules of law? Is it only for our citizens?
It's hard to... honestly, in this situation, I don't know, because we've never faced this type of an enemy before.
Then why...
This country has never faced this before.
Why wouldn't you take POWs from any war we've ever been in and bring them over and try each and every one for murder of U.S. citizens?
Because they represent a country.
All right, we're in a different situation.
These people don't represent a country.
Bin Laden did. He represented the Taliban.
We're back to the Hells Angels. They don't represent a country. They're like a gang.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're a gang within
They're
the
a
United
gang.
States. They're American citizens.
Well, what difference does that make?
The difference is
Our laws apply. You don't have to be a citizen to have
I
our
understand,
laws.
but when
Otherwise,
when
what
we're
would we
at
do to
war-
tourists?
When we're at war with somebody, the rules are are different. The
You
rules
know that.
Right.
of engagement are
Right.
different.
For military.
Yes, and
You don't think
Now-
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed should be held under military rules?
Boy, that is
No.
quite the loophole. Then that people can
Wow.
now come over.
He should be
invade our
tried.
country.
He should be tried for murder.
but as
Because he's a civilian who killed civilians.
And now, sir,
He should be
but
tried the same
That's-
way Manson was.
Al Qaeda is operating as a military operator. It's a different enemy. The U.S. has never seen an enemy that operated like this.
What a great loophole. Let's get a bunch of people from Somalia or from Afghanistan, load up a ship, come over to the U.S., not as an army, not as a representing a country.
that happen?
And let me just put this as a hypothetical example. Now let them just sweep on in and try to take over the United States with a little army.
Yep.
And now, instead of treating them as military combatants, we have to try each and every one of them as a criminal with the same rules
I
and
would say
regulations.
you don't give them any rights. You simply take them out back and execute them like the Wild West.
That's silly.
No, that's
now
what you're telling me.
No, he's
You're
not.
telling
You're
me
telling-
there's
No, he's
now
not.
a loophole for invading our country.
No,
Who's
he's not.
invaded our country?
I'm saying there's a loophole now, the way you put it. If some entity wants to invade the United States, they can now do it without the repercussions of not having due process. They will then have due process? The same things that we're afforded?
Yeah, not in our
crazy.
country. Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely, I agree with you.
You would allow-
By God,
Governor.
take them out back and hang them.
No, we should do it
You
because you
know?
know that you're not going to be a victim of terrorism. So what we should do is just allow citizens to be slaughtered. While
We're not allowing anything. It's called great police work.
No,
God
don't violate
almighty.
those civil liberties. Do not violate
No,
civil
yeah,
liberties.
absolutely.
Do not profile. Do not investigate Muslims because they're Muslim, because that's a profiling. And everybody on the left goes ballistic when you profile, because that's not affording citizens due process. You're profiling them. You're judging them guilty before they were tried.
Well,
so you can't
let's
do
not
that.
leave it there either. We're also profiling the Mexicans.
We profile the Italians for the mafia. You profile bikers for Hell's.
Yeah.
Profiling works to a certain degree,
Yeah.
as long as citizens are
Yep.
afforded a certain amount of respect
And
while being profiled.
I like the fact that now we don't even do it at the borders.
Where are Mexicans being profiled?
Well, I drive across every year, and now the last time I drove across the border, I showed my passport at the border, and I was 2 hours into Arizona on the freeway, and I had to do a 2-hour stop there because the cars were backed up, because it was an immigration stop in the middle of Arizona. Not at the border.
That
And
seems logical. For
really?
the people that got across.
Well,
Yeah, they do DWI checkpoints.
It only goes against our Constitution, but what the hell?
DWI
illegal
checkpoints
search?
do too, technically.
No. Our Constitution says you can travel freely inside the United
So
States. and you
DWI
don't
checkpoints
no,
also?
No. That's
Why?
because that's
Why?
driving a car and a license, and you're dealing with a cop.
Same
You're
thing
not,
here.
No, it isn't the same. This is immigration.
So what?
This
You're
is
checking
not-
to see if.
So what?
You're a citizen. You're not being hassled if you're a citizen.
Yes, you are. You're asked to produce. I already did it at the border.
Same as DWI checkpoint. You're asked to prove your sobriety.
No, it's different.
It's not different.
Yes, it
it's
is.
different because it doesn't prove your point, but it's not different.
Because driving is a privilege.
Yes, they weren't stopping citizens walking.
No,
they were stopping them and exercising their privilege.
Driving is a privilege. I don't have a right to drive.
Right, exactly.
It's a privilege.
So they were
But you
stopping-
have a right to be a citizen. It's your right not to be questioned
don't the police-
inside the United States if you're a citizen. So you think
have
we
the right to ask
This isn't the police. This isn't the police.
You're talking about the Border Patrol.
This is immigration.
Immigration. Oh, okay.
So what right does immigration have to pull
question
me
your
over
citizenship
in the
and
middle of Arizona and ask me to produce papers that I'm a citizen?
Well,
That seems a little shifty.
Yeah, but if they
Very
were
shifty.
stopping people
I'll give it to
because
them.
they wanted to make sure that there weren't illegals, they weren't looking for you. So what if they ask you to produce? And I mean
I
that.
refused.
Of course you did, because you're a
Because I
recognizable
believe
guy.
in the Constitution.
So do I. But again, it's not
No,
a
you don't,
suicide.
because you're saying that this
You're
is
right.
okay.
I don't believe in the Constitution. Stop it.
Stop it.
I don't believe in the Constitution.
You're violating it.
No, I'm
You
not.
have
I'm
no
exercising my
problem
free
with it.
speech. Boo-hoo.
No, Jesus.
And time.
Wow.
I love the Constitution.
It really has to go at this point.
It troubles me because
I don't like the perverse
we're-
use of the
we're-
Constitution.
Yeah.
We're out in the middle in the United States, and you're asked to produce your citizenship when you've already done it at the border. And our country has never made us have to produce any type of thing like that just to freely travel about the country.
Where are your papers?
Do you have to produce your... Well,
where are your papers? Can you leave Minnesota into South Dakota? And I foresee in the future they're going to have right at the borders, state to state, where you're going to have to produce paperwork to go from one state to the next.
It's called Easy Pass
and that's called taking away your freedoms in light of keeping us safe.
Slippery. That's what you'd say the police doing honest police work.
Let's keep us safe.
That's what you'd say about the police doing hard police work.
No,
I said you would.
That ain't police work. That's immigration.
But if it was a cop, say the cop had done it.
No, it ain't a cop.
You said it's all police work to stop terrorists. So if they started questioning people in a mosque, you'd say, "Oh, that's racist."
Don't put words in my mouth, please.
Why? You've done it to me. You did it to me. You said I don't believe in the Constitution.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Jess.
Governor.
You always just sulk and walk away. Why? You put words in my mouth.
There's a fucking guy here telling me I got a schedule.
You're using dirty language, asshole. Yeah.
Oh. Bye, tough guy.
Bye, tough guy.
And thanks for your service to our country.
You're welcome. Thanks for touching me with your fucking stupid riff-raff from fucking Rocky Horror hairdo. You're bigger than me and stronger than me. So what? I don't give a shit. You want to beat me up? Go ahead. I'm not going to fight a guy like you. That means nothing to me.
I know.
I argued with you. You put words in my mouth, and you didn't like when I did it to you. You put words in my mouth saying I didn't believe in the Constitution, and that's bullshit. It's not true. I don't agree with abusing it.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. You're a bigger patriot than me. Godspeed. Fuck out of here.
Wow.
What happened?
He's a fucking baby.
That ended on
a fucking baby.
Nice note.
Who gives a shit? A big fucking guy that doesn't like the little guy yelling.
You scared him, Jimmy.
No, you
scared him.
No, here's
away.
what that is. He wanted to knock my fucking block off, but he knows that he shouldn't or he can't because of the law or all this stuff. Fuck you. I don't care because I fucking hate that shit.
What happened, Sam?
Jimmy
I really do.
angry.
No, don't fight.
You know what? I bow to you.
I would never.
Oh, so do I.
I would never.
I saw the look Jesse was giving you.
I don't care.
On you.
I would never try to challenge a guy like that physically, and I don't posture that way. He would murder me.
You're like fucking Spider. You
Dude,
were just like Spider. I would toss your money.
I would never talk tough guy talk. I was arguing an ideological point. I would never get in Jesse Ventura's face and think I'm going to outman him. That was not my point, and I've never done that. Don't fucking tough guy me. I hate that.
He was tough guy.
Fuck him. I don't care how strong he is. I hate that.
Dude, bravo to Jim Norton.
That drives me nuts, man. That's my fucking pet peeve. I hate it.
Suicide by wrestler was what he was trying.
Holy shit! Do I fucking wrestler? But it's not, dude. It's not a tough guy thing. The guy would. It's not about that. I'm not gonna fight Jesse Ventura. I can't be bullied. It makes me fuck you. I hate it.
How'd you feel when he tapped your shoulder?
Annoyed, not intimidated. Annoyed.
And said,
annoyed.
Thank you for your service.
He didn't do it hard. It wasn't a threatening, but it was. Don't try to alpha male me, stupid.
Danny just put up a picture of the crypt keeper. Danny's real brave. Jimmy's the only one that opened his mouth like a man.
Dude,
like a man.
that drives me crazy.
That was a great ending.
That drives me nuts.
Wow.
What is he saying down the hall there?
Who cares? Who cares?
I'm just curious.
I asked him if when his book comes out in April, he'd be happy to come back because despite the tumult, that really sounded well. He goes, nope, not doing it.
Good. Fuck you. Bye. Don't.
We're done with him?
No, don't.
We've had intense discussions with the guy.
I walked with him to
and
the
he always
elevator.
Comes back.
And I said, Governor, I know that your feelings may have gotten hurt and you don't like Jim.
Who cares? I don't like him either. He's a sulker.
I don't respect that little shit.
I don't respect him either. I respect his military service, but I think he's a fucking... I don't respect him in a debate because he's a baby who pushes his microphone. Aw. What's the matter? You're not used to being challenged by a small guy, you fucking big dumb wrestler? I fucking hate that shit.
I mean...
By the way...
it's not like I stood up and go, what... I would never do that, dude.
People are saying best ending ever. By the way, yes, we did get that on video, and boy, will that video be...
I don't give a shit if he comes back.
That's a big one.
I don't
That's a biggie
care.
right there. That's a big one.
I swear to God, I don't care if he comes back.
Wait till you see... hit Jesse's face.
Honest to God,
he wanted to strangle you.
Too bad.
I know.
Then don't argue with me on the radio. Just bully me in an alley like you probably would have if you weren't a dumb fucking wrestler. I fucking hate big guys.
I'm afraid of Jimmy.
No, I'm not.
more funny.
Dude, I hate that shit. I fucking hate that shit.
Dude, you bravo. I mean, there's
hate
nothing.
it.
Honestly, there's nothing I could say, the listeners can say, Anthony can say. It's a bravo all the way around.
Yes.
So trust me.
I would never have
Me and
tried
Ant saw
to
the
speak
look
that
that
way to
Jesse
Jesse.
gave you. Bravo.
You
Wait till you see this fucking
nose
video.
to nose, and just you did not back down an iota.
But no, I won't back down.
I know, that's
but
just
again,
it.
if it came down to a real fight, the acknowledgement is the guy's going to murder me. I'm not going to fight
course
Jesse.
he would.
It's not about that. It's an argument. Even if it was a small guy or a woman I was arguing with, which is what I am to him.
It was that whole push the mic away. Yeah, nothing.
Don't try to fucking alpha male me in an argument.
That's
Man,
what
we
he
had
was
a
doing.
we had a really good discussion with the guy too. Why did it have to end there?
Because he's a guy like
You know what?
I'll tell you what.
I
know
started
why.
fading out. I'll be completely honest. What got to him at the end there?
I didn't like when he goes, well, you don't like the Constitution. He doesn't like me because I don't agree with him, and I'm fucking...
Don't put fucking words in my
He
mouth.
put fucking words in
And
my
then he put
mouth.
words in
And
your-
then he called me an asshole, and I called him an asshole.
And when Jimmy called him out on putting words in his mouth, he had no defense
Because
for
that's
it.
what he is. He's one of those big bully motherfuckers who likes to use his size and his weight, and he talks over everybody, and he's not a dumb guy.
shit,
I'm not
it's
going to
coming
say,
back.
so what? Fuck him. He's not a dumb guy. He's not a dumb guy.
I just want to see Jimmy look.
I just disagree
Don't
with
turn
him.
around, Jimmy.
I
Don't turn
respect the
around.
guy's military service. I respect the guy. He's a bright dude. He's not a dumb guy. He's just more radical than I am. But that, when you're arguing and that disagreeing, that fucking... Like, that's all of a sudden the
Yep.
atomic bomb. I'm going to use my... Fuck you, man.
You know what you should do? Bend him over and humble him. You fuck in the ass. I fuck you in the ass and humble you.
I don't care if he... That little shit. That's what I think of you, you big fat motherfucker. Beat it.
Steve.
There was a point.
No, I'm
Anthony,
sorry. I thought you
Anthony,
meant-
there was a point when Jimmy turned all the way around. Jesse was at the doorway. Jesse was debating.
I'm coming back in.
So what?
Yeah, he
I know,
was.
it
No,
was
I'm just
scary.
saying.
I know he was,
I'm just
but
painting the picture for
Dude,
everyone. There was
I
a moment
was
there where
scared for you.
Jesse's
I wasn't
like,
at all.
I think I got to go back
I
in there and
was
hit this
scared
guy.
for you.
And then
Because-
at the last second, turned and walked away.
When he drank his water
Yeah,
and
that's-
finished the
oh, yeah,
bottle,
yeah.
I thought he was going to throw the bottle.
Oh,
in
yeah.
And I would have
face.
thrown mine at him and got the shit beat out of me.
Oh, my
Believe me.
God. That's what I was thinking. That's why I started getting afraid. And then Kenny would have had to come in and... Oh, it would have been awful. Kenny, I want to talk to Kenny for a minute. Because I want to know what Kenny was thinking.
I've been boxing lately. I would have tried something.
Dude, I'm more,
Would you knock it
dude,
off?
I would be annoyed at a small guy for pushing the microwave during an argument when Jesse was having a lot of time to say what he had to say.
Yeah.
We were arguing back and forth. He felt I put words in his mouth. I felt he put words in mine. But then to drop it like that, goodbye.
I know.
Fuck you. We were
Goodbye.
promoting your show for the last
I'm
20
done.
minutes. Asked plenty of legitimate questions.
Yes. Let him get his point across over and over again.
Oh, try crazy.
The Virus. Sirius-XM.